Hey, y'all need a break, listen to these stories from r/EntitledParents. EM tries to fire me, and threatens me because I'm too gay. Okay, to give you some background, I'm a male bisexual, who has a boyfriend. I work as a bagger at a small town Kroger. At the time of the story I'd been working for 2 weeks. Cast, me, EM and her kid. Nice coworker, NC. Cashier, CA. Me talking to NC, I really hope I can meet up with my boyfriend. He's playing for the band in this upcoming football game. NC, yeah, that would be nice, I bet he'd appreciate it too. CA, yeah man, he's lucky to have someone like you. Me, blushing aw thanks. Enter EM. EM, what are you talking about? Me, is there a problem ma'am, can I help? EM, yes there's a problem, you better not be a f***, those aren't allowed in public. NC, trying to help. Ma'am, we'd appreciate if you didn't use the kind of hurtful and discriminatory language in this establishment. We do reserve the right to remove you from the store. Kroger's mission is to make sure everyone is comfortable and feels safe in our store. Saying that was a huge mistake. EM, excuse me, I feel uncomfortable. Me, why is that ma'am? Also a huge mistake. EM, grabs my apron by the collar, pretty much spitting in my face. Why? Because f***s like you are in public stores like this. You spread your gay energy to people like my precious kid. I'm on the verge of tears, and terrified. CA, ma'am. That is so incredibly disrespectful, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave the store. EM, I can't believe this EK, you better not grow up to be a stupid little insolent f*** like this man. I'm not leaving until I see your manager. I hope people like you and your stupid boyfriend die horrible painful deaths. Me, literally crying, and stuttering as my social anxiety kicks in, ma'am CA, OP are you okay? NC, trying to comfort me, it's okay OP, don't worry she's just one person, who can't figure out society. EM, excuse me, I think I am the one who's got society figured out, unlike your co-worker, get a manager now. Enter my floor supervisors. Supervisor 1, what seems to be the problem? EM, can't you see that your employee is a are you blind? EM's kid starts to mock me. Supervisor 2, ma'am we can't have that kind of language in this store, we must formally ask you to leave the establishment, any further stay is trespassing, and we will call the police. EM, but your coworker just sexually assaulted me. Literally everyone, didn't you just say he was a bad gay person? EM, I'm going to sue all of you for verbal assault, and for promoting gay fags. You should fire this fag and everyone who supports him, being gay is not okay, all gays should die the worst deaths. Supervisor 1, calls the police. EM seeing she's been defeated, books it. Supervisor 2 plus NC and CA, OP are you okay? Me, starting to slowly regain myself yeah, I'll be fine. Supervisor 1 and 2, hey why don't you clock out early, you need to rest, we'll take care of everything. Me, okay. CA, please don't let people like that get to you. Me, I'll try thanks. My next shift all my coworkers greet me and are super nice, I'm lucky to have nice, supportive coworkers. TLDR, entitled mother grabs and spits on me, tries to get me fired, and tells me I should die in the most horrific ways because I'm not straight, gotta love the society we live in. Entitled mom tries to break into my house. I've been on Reddit for a while reading everyone's crazy encounters but I never actually made an account as I never expected I would encounter a Karen myself but surprisingly I did in fact encounter one so I made an account to post this crazy story. Side note, I know this sounds impossible to believe but I kid you not it happened and it doesn't matter if you believe it or not as I realize it sounds like tosh but to those who do thanks. Anyways into the story. For some context I am female, 20, and work as a cashier at a nearby grocery store. My neighbor, EM, and her son, not entitled so I will say S for son of entitled mom, are people I don't see much, however I see S more than EM as we became friends when I moved in. S was 17 and in a few days it would be his birthday and I had got him the book he had been wanting for a while and other stuff along with some snacks, you know, the usual stuff. It was a cold afternoon and I got some hot chocolate while watching TV when, insert here comes Karen music is all I think when looking back, I hear loud banging and shrieking coming from my door, when I open it the following conversation ensues. EM, hi, you finally opened the door. Me, sorry I had a hot chocolate and I had to put it down, what can I help you with EM? EM, well, OP, I came to get the presents. Me, I haven't wrapped them yet sorry, if you give me a minute I can wrap them. I couldn't even finish that phrase till this shriveled voice said. EM, you don't have to wrap keys to my son's new house. Me, what? I'm confused. EM groans and tries to step inside but I keep in the way of the door kinda scared because a grown-ass woman, who doesn't seem like she would hesitate to beat me up, was trying to step inside. Are you deaf? Get the keys to my son's house. Me, I think you have it wrong. I don't have keys to any other house than this one. I know because you're poor. I mean, get the keys to this house, you agreed to give them. Then she gets her phone and shows a obviously edited screenshot of me saying yes, and at that point I was fed up and just slammed the door in her face, and I was happy with myself when I walked inside hearing loud screaming and banging outside, but after a few minutes it was quiet again. Now, I'm a night owl and I read a lot, losing track of time, so I checked the time on my phone after reading a few chapters of a book I was reading, and it was around midnight, so I decided I'd call it a night when I hear something odd outside. Now in my house, my bedroom is on the front side of my house towards the right so I can see pretty much my whole front yard, so when I look out I'm mortified to see a figure at my door, and it looked like they were trying to wedge my door open and I was hella scared. I had never been in a situation where I needed to call the police but I wasn't sure if I should, but when I saw they were nearly succeeding in opening my front door, I decided it was kinda needed to call the police, so I grabbed my phone and I called the police. They arrived after a few minutes, and when I went downstairs after they got the person, I was incredibly shocked to see screaming and kicking about how her son deserved the house or how it was in fact his house and I had stole it. Which I had to stop myself from laughing after hearing. She was put into the cop car. Celebrated his birthday with me since hadn't returned and he cracked up hearing what happened and he was so happy with the original gifts I bought him. And a little update is that has in fact returned but I'm surprised to say hasn't bothered me, and says she has been quiet so hopefully she learned her lesson. If I have any more stories that I encounter I'll be sure to tell y'all thirsty for drama readers but for now I have no more to tell and I hope you have a nice, Karen-free day. Update, door got a tiny bit damaged and is getting fixed but I'm surprised that so many people saw this but yeah. Nothing else to add on for now so bye. Edit, thank you so much to FaceOff240 for telling me I deleted half my post when doing the update, it's fixed now. An EP accuses a taxi driver of being the reason why his precious adult child passed out drunk and missed her curfew. This is a situation my father had in 2013. He was a taxi driver for years, and after this happened, he immediately quit and became a truck driver. It was Saturday night. It was well past midnight, so already Sunday, around 3 a.m. My dad had just driven one person home when the dispatcher called him. 3:03 a.m., my dad receives the destination and fare. Disco club, redacted, 2 women, one of them Anna. 3:08 a.m., my dad's at the entrance to, redacted. 3:12 a.m., 2 girls enter my dad's car, one of them Anna. Around 25 years old, both, and also, both drunk as hell. Anna gives 2 addresses to my dad, first her apartment building, then her friend's house. 3:20 a.m., the car is at the first address. The other girl says that she has money to pay the full fare, so Anna leaves the car. She's very drunk and insecure on her feet. There's no light at the entrance to Anna's apartment building. My dad uses the headlamps of his car to shed light at the entrance to Anna's building, so that she can find the keys, open the door and so on. This is a common practice among taxi drivers, always make sure that a woman arrives at the destination safe and sound. 3:25 a.m., the car leaves the first address and heads for the second. 3:32 a.m., the car arrives at the second address. In the meantime, the second girl passed out. If there wasn't for this first stop, the total time to drive from, redacted, to the second address would be less than 10 minutes, BTW, and it's relevant for the later events. 3:33 a.m., my dad leaves his car, locks all the doors and enters the courtyard. This is also a standard procedure. If your fare is unconscious, and even more so if the fare is a woman, do not touch her. If you are at her destination, call someone from there to pick her up and pay for the fare. If there's no one at the destination to help you with her, call the ambulance or police. So, my dad knew that it was Saturday night, that they were at a disco and had a lot of drinks, and he had no reason to call the emergency, at least not before he tries to get help from a family member. 3:34 a.m., he rings at the house doors. 3:36 a.m., the girl's father opens the door. Cast. EP, entitled Parent. MD, my dad. EP, who are you and what the hell are you doing here at this hour? MD, I'm sorry to wake you up, sir, but I'm a taxi driver and I've just driven your daughter home. EP, my daughter. Where is she? MD, she's in the car, passed out, please bring her in and put her to sleep, she'll be sober in a few hours. EP, but she's more than 1 hour late. She should have been here around 2. MD, sir, I received the call from the disco club at around 3 a.m., dropped her friend off along the way, and here I am now, with your daughter passed out in my car. Please come to the car to take her in and to her bed. EP, what did you do to her? Still standing at the doorstep and accusing. MD, nothing, I drove her here, Home, to you. I'm a taxi driver, that's what I do. EP, but my daughter doesn't drink much, she would never allow herself to be so drunk as to pass out in a stranger's car. MD, sir, she and her friend were already drunk when they entered my car at Redacted. And I'm not a stranger, I am a taxi driver. EP, she must have been given something. MD, sir, I don't know anything about it. I received the call around 3 o'clock to pick up your daughter and her friend at Redacted. You should ask your daughter about it in the morning when she sobers up. Please come and take your daughter out of my car and settle the fare. Tomorrow you can speak to her and her friend, who'd confirm everything I said. EP, she called me around 1:30 and she didn't sound drunk at all. She told me she'd be home by 2, and 2 hours later, she's unconscious on your back seat. MD, I received the call from Redacted only at around 3 a.m. sir. You can ask your daughter tomorrow when she wakes up what happened at Redacted between 2 and 3 a.m. But right now, you should bring her in. I'm not allowed to have any physical contact with my fare and she can't get out of the car by herself. EP, you're obviously lying, because you're telling me you needed a half an hour to get here from Redacted. MD, what? I never said that. EP, yes, you did. You said you picked up my daughter and Anna at 3 a.m., and now it's past 3:30. MD, I received a call from Redacted after 3 a.m. and picked them up at 3:10 or later. And I also dropped Anna off at her address along the way here. Sir, my car has a GPS tracker and you can check my locations at any given time during my shift. You can call my dispatcher and ask her for the time stamps, she'll send it to you first thing after I've made sure my fare has safely arrived at her destination. EP, no, she hasn't safely arrived at the destination. She's unconscious on your back seat. MD, because she had too many a drink, sir, before she entered my vehicle. That is not my fault or responsibility. I would have helped her out myself if I could, but I am not allowed to touch my fare. EP, as I said, my daughter would never have too many a drink by herself. I want to know what was given to her. MD, then bring your daughter in and to bed, and in a few hours when she sobers up, ask her what happened at Redacted or in my car. Ask Anna and my dispatcher as well. But right now I need your daughter out of my vehicle, before she throws up or something. EP, I'm not going to contaminate a possible crime scene. MD, sir, there's no crime scene in my cab, only your daughter who needs help to get out of the vehicle and into her bed. She'll be fine after some sleep. She's not the first fare to pass out in my cab during the ride home. It happens, and it's not a big deal. The important thing is that she's home safe and that you can check the last 30 minutes of my shift if you want, with no problem whatsoever. Now please, help your daughter out of my car. EP, I'm calling the police, sir, you know. MD, please do. 10 minutes later, there were 2 policemen at the door. In the meantime, the lovely daughter on the back seat of the cab made a huge mess all over the place. She emptied her bladder on the seat and threw up on the floor and back seat and all over herself. The policeman called my dad's dispatcher and in less than 1 minute established that my dad was totally innocent and that he did the right thing by asking the fare's father to help him with the passed out woman. They told the father to bring the daughter in and then told him to leave my dad alone. The man was furious, but had to do what they told him. However, the story didn't end there. 2 days later, my dad's boss received the call from the EP. The boss already knew what happened that night. EP, I demand the fare I had to pay refunded, as I'm going to press charges against your driver. Boss, on what account, sir? EP, for molesting my daughter. I've already spoken to my lawyer. Boss, feel free to do that, sir. I hope your lawyer informed you of the fact that we have time stamps for the vehicle in question and that the entire case can fire back on you hard, sir. EP, my daughter doesn't even remember that they called a taxi and that she ever entered your car. Boss, your daughter's loss of memory is irrelevant, sir, as the video surveillance at the entrance to Redacted confirmed that your daughter willingly entered the vehicle with her friend at 3:12 a.m. on Sunday. And I'm sure you already know that your daughter's friend herself called our dispatcher from her mobile phone. EP, my lawyer told me that your drivers are responsible for their fares and their well-being while they're in your cars. Boss, exactly, and the only thing my driver did wrong was ringing at your door, instead of calling the police immediately. He didn't want your daughter to spend a night in prison to sober up and wanted to avoid an embarrassing situation for her, so he made a mistake and asked you to help your daughter out of the car. EP, I'm going to sue your asses for this. Boss, be my guest, as I already said. And for the record, we're not going to refund the fare. We'll send you a fat invoice for the car cleaning services, and for the 24-hour loss of our vehicle and fares we lost thereby. Indeed, it happened as announced by both parties. The EP sued the company and lost epically. The company won and the invoice at the end of the story was even fatter, and now included legal costs and all possible fines the judge could add to it, to teach the EP an important lesson about responsibility and false accusations and disrespect. My dad decided to become a truck driver, as truck drivers never have to deal with drunk fares or entitled parents. It's okay, I've worked with animal rescue for 10 years now. Disclaimer, English is not my first language, so if there are any mistakes please message me. I have worked at a petting zoo for almost 4 years as the manager. Luckily I don't get a lot of entitled parents because most of them find animals disgusting. However, there are some rare moments I meet one. While I was feeding our ducks and chickens some bread, a woman walked up to me with her child, around 8 years old. "What are you doing?" with a snare in her voice. I looked up and told her I was just feeding the animals. "But why are you feeding them bread?" Me, "It's 3 p.m, they always get bread around this time, they will follow you around until you give them bread." During this entire conversation I kept giving bread. Karen, "Well, I've worked with animal rescue for 10 years now and I can tell you, bread is deadly. I have my degree in animal care and let me tell you, in my country they let anyone join animal rescues because they need every help they can get. Even if you don't have a degree." Me, "That might be right, but I've never had a problem with any of my animals because of bread, and it's not the only thing we feed them." K, "Well, I've worked with animal rescue for over 10 years and it's deadly." Me, "If my animals ever get sick because of bread, I will stop, but as long as that isn't the case I won't." K, "Sick?" She scoffs. "They won't get sick, they will die." Me, "Well, that's odd." K, "What is?" in the most sharp tone I've ever heard. Me, "For some dead animals they seem pretty alive to me, might be zombie ducks, huh? Let me be clear, they always wait at 3 for food. Not just bread but just anything, vegetables, bread, seeds. They don't eat bread daily, and if they do eat bread it's not a lot, just a few slices." Karen walks away with her daughter. While I'm still feeding bread, I spot Karen picking bamboo leaves of our bamboo in the corner of my eye. Normally when people do this they will feed it to the goats, which isn't allowed. I always say something about it, but this time I was just waiting. She walks into the goat pen and starts feeding bamboo. I walk over there and say, "Miss, you can't feed that." She stops me with a big smile saying, "It's just bamboo leaves, I've worked with pet rescues over 10 years now and it's healthy." Me, "That might be the case with some bamboo, but there are over 50 kinds and some might cut the tongue of the goats because of the sharp edges. It happened before." I was BSing by the way, but she didn't need to know that, but they are sharp on the edges. K, "It was probably something else that did that." Me, "I don't want to find out. If you are gonna feed them then please give them from that tree." And I gesture towards the curly hazel tree. K, "Ugh, fine." I got my coffee. While I was watching in the distance I saw her leaving the pen. We have 2 fences which you need to pass to enter the goat pen so the goats can't escape. If they do it's usually just the first fence they got by. And it just so happened Karen didn't stop the goats and they got through the first fence. I see her trying to get the goats back. Trying wasn't the right word, she held the gate open and told the goats, "Go back, come on, go back." My volunteer was trying to help her but she sent him away. My volunteers came to me and told me that the goats escaped. I told them it's okay, she has worked 10 years with animal rescue, she must know what she is doing. I had some visitors came by who I knew and told me the same thing. The goats escaped. And I told them the same thing. It's okay, she has worked with animal rescue with over 10 years, she knows what she's doing. I kept watching her trying to get the goats back from a distance while drinking my coffee. Her daughter was at least doing something, she pushed some goats back, but it didn't work because Mommy Dearest kept the gate open so the rest could go back as well. I kid you not, it took her 25 minutes to get 5 goats back. All the while I've been drinking my coffee and just watched. She walked back with her child towards the exit. While she passed me she thanked me for my help. I smiled at her and said, "You've worked in animal rescue for over 10 years so I thought you didn't need my help." She looked at me with disgust and walked out of the petting zoo. Edit, making things clear on eating bread. Edit 2, this story happened more than 1 year ago, we gave bread every day then but not anymore. And still we give a few slices. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments.